All right, imagine a detective. But this isn't just any detective, and this isn't just any case. This is the biggest case of all time. The mystery: what is real? The lead investigator is a 17th century philosopher named René Descartes. And get this, his investigation led him to tear down everything he thought he knew, just to find one single undeniable clue about what it means to exist. And this is it. This might be the most famous sentence in all of philosophy. But here's the thing you have to understand about Descartes. This wasn't the clue that started his investigation. Oh no, this was the breakthrough. This was the one piece of evidence left standing after he'd thrown everything else out. It wasn't a starting point. It was the final destination. So, that's the real mystery we're going to solve today, right? We're going to retrace Descartes' every step. We're going to follow his journey from a place of total uncertainty to a foundation of absolute truth. We are literally going to watch him tear down the world, just so he could find something solid to stand on. So our story really kicks off with Descartes looking back on his own education. And he had one of the best educations in Europe at the time, but he felt completely dissatisfied. It was like he'd been handed this massive library of information, but none of it felt truly certain. The very foundation of his knowledge just felt shaky. What's so wild is his reaction to this feeling. He didn't just decide to read a few more books. Nope. He decided the entire building of knowledge was unstable. So his solution was radical. He decided to demolish everything, tear down every single opinion he'd ever accepted and just start over, from scratch, on a foundation he could trust 100%. Okay, so how do you even begin a task that huge? I mean, where do you start? Well, if you're a detective investigating reality, you need a procedure. You need a strict set of rules so you don't fall back into your old, sloppy ways of thinking. And that's exactly what Descartes did. This really shows you how his mind worked. It all kicks off with Rule 1, and this is the big one. Accept nothing as true, unless you are absolutely positively certain of it. No room for doubt. Then, his process is just crystal clear. Break down big problems into smaller, bite-sized pieces. Then, build your knowledge back up step by step, from the simplest truths to the more complex ones. And finally, be a total perfectionist. Review everything to make sure no sneaky assumptions slipped through the cracks. This 4-step method was his toolkit for the entire investigation. So, with his rules in hand, Descartes began the interrogation. He basically put every single one of his beliefs into a police lineup, and he treated each source of his knowledge as a suspect in the crime of possibly deceiving him. First up for questioning, the most obvious informant we've got, our own senses. What we see, what we hear, what we touch. That seems pretty reliable, right? We can trust that, can't we? Well, Detective Descartes, he wasn't so sure. And here's his logic, which is pretty brilliant. Think about it. If a witness has lied to you, even once, can you ever fully trust their testimony again? A stick in water looks bent. A tower in the distance might look round, but when you get up close, it's actually square. Because our senses can be fooled, they are fundamentally unreliable witnesses. They can't give us certainty. So, suspect number 1 is dismissed. Okay, next up in the interrogation room, waking life itself. And this is where the investigation gets, honestly, kind of spooky. Descartes asks this chilling question: how do I know, for certain, that I'm not dreaming right now? I mean, just think about the last really vivid dream you had. While you were in it, it felt completely 100% real, didn't it? Descartes realized there's no foolproof test you can do inside of a dream to prove that it's a dream. So, if that's true, what test can he do right now to prove that he's awake? He couldn't think of one. So, the entire physical world, it had to be dismissed as a source of certainty too. So, with his senses gone and the physical world in doubt, Descartes turns his suspicion on the last man standing: pure reason, logic, math. I mean, surely even if you're in a dream, 2 + 2 still equals 4, right? This is his final, most extreme act of doubt. He imagines that it's possible that some powerful, evil demon exists whose only goal is to deceive him about everything. This entity could be tricking him into believing that 2 + 2 equals 4 when it actually doesn't. And just like that, everything is gone. The senses, the world, even logic. The case has gone completely cold. But it's right here, at rock bottom, standing in the total rubble of everything he once believed. That's where Descartes finds it, the one single, unshakable clue that cracks the entire case wide open. I mean, really, after doubting his senses, his reality, and even his own ability to reason, what on earth could possibly be left? And there it is. He realized that even if an evil demon was trying to deceive him about everything, in order to be deceived, he had to exist. In order to doubt, there must be a doubter. The very act of thinking, even if every single one of those thoughts was wrong, proved the existence of a thinker. He was thinking, therefore he had to be. Now, the really key insight here is that this I he's talking about, it isn't his body. That could still be part of the dream or the demon's illusion. No. It's his mind, his consciousness, what he calls a thinking thing. The existence of this thinking mind is the first solid piece of evidence. It's the bedrock that he can finally start to rebuild all of knowledge upon. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, cool, but that's just a 400-year-old thought experiment. But here's the thing, Descartes' investigation has never been more relevant. His big questions are our big questions. They've just been updated for the 21st century. I mean, take his dream argument. Is that really so different from the modern simulation hypothesis? The idea that our entire reality might just be an incredibly advanced computer program? It's the exact same philosophical problem. How can you trust the evidence of your senses when your entire reality could be a convincing fake? And what's amazing is he didn't even stop there. He also started asking questions we're wrestling with today about artificial intelligence. He actually wondered what it would take to tell the difference between a real human and a perfectly made machine that looked and acted just like one. For Descartes, the real test, the ultimate test, was language. Not just repeating words like a parrot, but using them creatively, in context, to express genuine thought, something he noted even the lowest grade of intellect in humans can do. This exact question of whether a machine can truly understand, or if it's just getting really good at mimicking understanding, is at the very heart of today's debates about AI. And that leaves us with a modern twist on his original case. Descartes cracked his case by concluding, I think, therefore I am. But as we create machines that get better and better at the act of thinking, we're now forced to ask, if an AI can use language and reason and convince us that it thinks, well, does it therefore exist? The investigation, it seems, continues.